Hey guys, how's it going? Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just getting set up and then we'll get started again. Yeah, so today the plan is to sort of talk through some gaming logic and show you how to build some sort of AI assisted logic. But I'm just getting my social set up and then we'll get started. Spam in the channel already. Okay, let's get started. So I'll keep an eye on my socials. I don't actually have a multi-screen setup. I'm just using my laptop, so you'll notice me flicking between the actual social screens. So I guess maybe I should do some sort of high-level code flow before I sort of get into the logic. It's probably useful for me as well. So just sort of note it in the README. Right, there's notes. Let's do the flow here, and then we'll talk about what it is I want to do. Okay, so basically, the way I have the game right now is I have a main loop, so I'll do game flow. So you can imagine game logic starts like this. So the game starts with the main loop, and what happens is the main loop calls a setup file, right? And so what this setup file does is it imports and creates all of the classes. So like there's obviously in a game you've got tons of images, tons of different font. Like once this game's done, like this size will be about probably 2,000 lines, which is still tiny compared to the rest of the code base. But it's basically things like setting up all of these, importing the images. Some of the images, when you import them, you want to convert them, and that's to allow your. I should probably convert. Oh no, I won't. I won't convert that. But it's to allow your your loading to go a lot faster. I showed that in the last one, so that's really really important. So again, I created this function, but it actually uses an underlying function which allows conversion of the pictures. But ultimately, you're importing all of these bits and bobs, and to get the game started, right? So like, I create a game class, I create a GUI class. So a GUI class is like your camera, the size and width of the screen, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of like the main idea there. And then so let's jump back to the flow, and we'll sort of add more, and we'll just keep going through that. I'll be checking on the socials, so you'll see me control and all away now and again. So you've got the setup, and this is, you can think of as like just importing pictures, images, and setting up the main GUI game and other classes, right? So in the main loop, if we jump to the main loop, you can see like basically it just goes round. There's some iteration counts. It manages the cursor, so that's using the GUI class. So like I created an ability to know where the cursor is, check if the cursor collides and things like that. So obviously you need to know where the cursor is for clicking buttons. So the game loop should never really be more than 100 lines, right? Because so the main loop, because all you're really doing is, it's like the highest level of coordination, and so the deeper down you go, the more granularity that you add. So has to be the simplest level, and all it's really doing is it's like checking for any events, like if buttons are clicked, if there's any scrolled, things like that, getting the position of the mouse, um, rendering anything that needs to be rendered to the screen, and then incrementing the timer. So this is the way that the loop sort of goes round. Um, yeah, and also like I should sort of mention like the topics that I've put in the chat. I'll only cover them when I've got like actually people on the stream watching it. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about the stuff that's going on in the game. So okay, so then in the main flow, the sort of the next most important thing is this coordinator. So it's in the game object. So in the game object, I've just got this simple coordinator that will know to change between the different parts of the startup. So this is like the high level flow. So in the main loop, there's a coordinator, which in that coordinator, it manages, you can think of it as managing the scenes, right? So managing the main scenes, the main phases, I guess, scenes of phases of the game, right? So this is things like this will include the intro screen. I should probably take spaces out of these. So these are the different things, right? So you've got the sort of intro screen, the actual title screen. Then you've got the menu, start menu. And then within the start menu, you've got the main game. And you've got other stuff, you've got settings and things. But you've also got a map editor. So these are the main things that I'm doing. And then you've also got like settings, profile, blah, 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 blah. I'm not doing anything with that. But what I am doing is, so this is a fully finished loop already. So the map editor, in that you can choose a new map, create new map, edit, load map. And then under either of these, you just get edit map. So this loop's complete. So I should put a complete here. Put a wee star. So it's pretty cool that one's done. So I did that in the last session where I sort of walked over the logic of the game and showed that like how you can build out the map functionality. I'm going to do some research on the socials just now, and then we'll pick up again, because obviously it's not showing me anyone on the chat, so I don't want to sort of waste my breath too much. Otherwise, I'm just going to jump in straight into the actual meat of the code. I really need to figure out how these thumbnails work properly. I'll do a Twitch share. Yeah, the thumbnails always load up the stuff I don't want to show. Okay, cool. That'll do. So yeah, so the logic there is kind of fully done. So the main game, the way this works is within the main game loop. I should actually call it not the main game, because there's a main loop. We'll just call it the game logic. So this is actually run quite interestingly. So the main calls the coordinator, which is actually, I should just call it game, because it is the game object. It's an object that I've called game, but the game logic, ironically, is it's not called game. It's called level. So what happens is the game may be really high level. So I should probably go something like this, for the main game flow, it's a main, and then from main it goes to game logic, and then to game it goes to level. So like level 1, level 2, and then from there it calls all of this, all of the assets like player, obj, enemy, obj, bullet, obj, tile map, things like that. So that's really how the high level works, right? So it's just the main loop calls the game, and then the game checks, what state am I in, and if you're playing, it loads that specific level, and that level manages all of the objects of the players, the enemies on the screen, the bullet objects, and the tile map. So that's kind of how it works here. That I'll kind of add more to this later, but at the moment, what I want to show you is in the game logic. So this is I should call this, I put the game logic should be called level class. That's a better way to do it. Class, yeah, that's a much better way to do it. Coordinator is game class. And what it does is yeah, that's fine. I should probably put them in square brackets. Being a bit of a perfectionist just now, which is not really helpful. But yeah, that makes it a bit more clear, right? So there's a level class, a game class, a main isn't a class, it's just a function. That's how it works. So yeah, that's basically it. What I'm going to do now is actually go into building the game logic. The logic, before I do it, I'll actually show you the game running. So there's a bit of like kind of bump that starts the game, and then you've got title screen, press start, very classic. Just something there just to take up the picture just now, just a placeholder. It's obviously not going to be that. So I've got the map editor, which is I sort of did last time, so I can load up a map or create a new one. So if I load up level 1, and you can see, so obviously like this tiles is like really, really basic, right? This is like art I created within like literally 5 minutes, just like a bunch of tiles, but it does allow me to do some manipulation, which is really good, right? So like I can click on here, and then I can choose the tile I want, right? So to code that up might seem easy. It certainly wasn't easy. Took me like all of like, I don't know, like 3 hours or something, 2 hours maybe. But I've now got the ability to build a full. Oh, that's interesting. Ah, there we go. I've now got the ability to build myself a full level maps to test. Obviously, there'll be more added onto this, like, because I'm going to make it so like I can pick animated maps and things, and then I also want to do so that I can so I can I'll go back, see if that back button works. Yeah, it does. Oh no, it doesn't. It fails because yeah, it's not subscriptable. That's fine. It's just I haven't quite like fully sorted that logic out yet. But essentially, that's the basic map editor, and then the start game is really basic at the moment. You can boost, you can shoot. That's it. It's pretty much it. The boost took me a while to do because you have to like, I don't want them to have it forever, so you just tap the button, it boosts for a while, and then it goes off, and you can shoot. And this is the AI object that I need to start to give it a bit of personality and to give it a bit of a brain. So what we want the AI object to like go in a pattern, something like this. I want it to like patrol this area here, right? So I want it to kind of patrol in maybe a nice square mechanism. So go here, turn, and this will be its state until it sees me, and then it should turn to me and shoot, right? And then if I'm gone, it should return back to its formation. So this is a very sort of standard game logic 101, but that's what we're going to do. Just checking in on the socials again. So yeah, like feel free to ask me anything if you want to. It's me to sort of cover topics and chat about things. Otherwise, I'm just going to carry on to break into the game. Um, right. So I think the next step is to go into the actual game logic itself. Into the AI logic. I'm kind of tempted to fix that bug with the map. See what happened to it. So generally don't like leaving things unhandled. So in the map editor, I went to load map, do a test one. When I go to back, it failed because it didn't like this map size. Because when I push it's probably, we'll go to the loop and then I'll sort of talk through it. 219 in the map maker. I think I know what it is. So it didn't like this when I pushed the back button, and I think that's simply because when I push this, it's trying to exit. It's set the init state, and this value is no longer available. So because it's an if loop, I can't quite break. So I need to think of a easiest way to do this. Does it say go into the intro? Yeah, go into intro. What happens is it says that they print out the object is not subscriptable of the map size. Which would be line 219. So game map is probably because it's come back round here one time, I think, when I push back. So I've set the game state to intro, and it's because I've initialized the okay, so the easiest way to do this is to add so this logic here should be added at the end. So that should fix it. I was trying to think of a nicer way to do it, but basically what's happening is it's initialized all of the self properties, and then it's like, whoa, I don't have a game map, and I don't have, these sub values of the game map because you've just initialized me. But I should put a wee note to say always goes at the end. So, I mean, it might seem a bit cocky that I think I already know what the problem is, but let's just test it to make sure. So if I click here, yeah, it worked fine. Okay, good. That's that logic worked. So now we need to go into the actual game logic and start thinking about how to do the AI. Right. So at the moment, what happens is everything that we actually care about is managed in this level loop, and it's probably time I'll write out the level logic as well. So this is the sort of game. This is the game logic, and I'll put simplified logic. So game logic, simplified, full float. I'll put level flow. I mean, I could probably drill down here and just put it in here. Yeah, I'll put it in here. Right, so what we've got is the level has a bunch of parameters that are initialized when it's started kicked off by the game. But the main thing is this run step, and if it's in the initialized state, what should happen is, I should put this on high level, right? So it'll have two main states, right? If it's in the initialized step, what this should do is it should add tiles, like set up background, add enemies to screen, add enemies to the thing, right? Like game object, level object. So just add enemies to the field. And then add enemies, set the background. Am I doing anything else just yet? There probably should be more stuff. At the moment, no, right? So at the moment, it's only that. But later, there'll be more things. There'll be like objects and things like that. But that's the sort of high level. So when you start to initialize, you want to set everything up ready to go. And then the next bit is the run, right? Run, and the run is basically, all it's doing is it's making sure every element, so the player element, the enemy element, the bullets, and the map are all. It basically runs the bullets, map, enemies, players, functions, because each loop that's going to go round, and it needs to run all of those in order to the game to seem seamless. So that's the sort of the main idea. Oh hey Peter, thanks for subbing man and watching. Yeah man, I mean, I think so. So what I would say like is for me, like when I first got into this properly was like 2 years ago. I've been doing game dev on and off before then, but it wasn't until 2 years ago that I was like, okay, I want to build something that I like. And I think I saw your post where you were sort of talking about games on a ZX Spectrum. And honestly, that's probably the best place to start. Like, if you can find an emulator and start building out Spectrum games again, then it'll keep you motivated to keep pushing through. Yeah, definitely, man. Thanks. It's good to hear from you. Anyway, Peter, I know you've, hopefully you get off for Christmas tomorrow or today. That'll be good. Yeah, and if you do start your own 2D game project, I'll be following you. So definitely let me know. Just doing some Facebook messages before I go back to it. Okay, so back to the game. Yeah, to be honest though, like with the streaming, like, do you know the only reason I'm streaming right now is just because, like, well, why not? It's not like I don't fully know what I'm doing either, and so it kind of probably makes me a better dev, so I talk and speak at the code at the same time, but also just like I don't have my shit set up. All I've done is like I don't know if you can see the screen here, right? Like you can see like I'm using the Streamlabs app, right? I downloaded that. It was like what's the way to say it? Like it was way too much shit to learn, right? And I'm like not gonna learn to like I'll show you what I mean, right? Like I can go and click sources, right? And I can add all of this stuff, right? And there's lots of like really fancy like streaming ways to do things. So if I go and look, is it Streamlabs, and then just show you like what some people have theirs looking like, it's like pretty crazy. Like some people have like really hardcore themes. Oh, maybe it's not doesn't show you them so well in here. I can actually show you. Like I can go to like the theme shop. Don't know if which one it is. Is it this one or? But it's like crazy. Yeah, that's it there. I think overlays. Sorry, right? It's like yeah, use simple OBS to stream games. That's cool. I mean, like some of the stuff here, it's like there's so many widgets to learn. I'm like, nah, I don't. I have no fucking idea how to do this. So, oops, I'll probably get in trouble for swearing. But basically, what I've got is I've got like a main one which has like the display capture, one with a camera, which I don't ever plan to use. I'm not wanting people to see myself. Then I've got these, you won't see them, you'll just see all of a sudden like the screen change. And these are just placeholders that I can click when I want to, not share the camera and go elsewhere. So that's all I've got. And then that's it. Then I just do stuff. But yeah, I think you should, because it will keep you on track better. And the thing is like, I've got like 2 followers, right? Like, including you, right? So I literally got no one, but sometimes people drop in, and some people like ask questions. So yeah, it's good. It's good, man. It's good for the soul. Even if nobody sort of watches, it gets me into the habit of talking and coding. So yeah, like in the main, so like again, you've got main, game, level, and then within the level, I've got all the player objects, right? So in this level, I've got the main. So my player moves. Everything's done in this action step. So I've got a player object here, and the action is where I've got camera movement. I should probably get rid of that. Nah, I keep that just for now. So I've got camera movement. Get the keys that are pressed by the user. Move the camera based upon the speed. This is actually quite needs fixed though, because when I go faster, the screen shakes really badly. But at the moment, it's basically saying like, if the y coordinate of the player is less than the camera y coordinate, then move the camera to keep up. So it does it with them all. So if the player goes out of the screen, the camera will move to try and keep up. But it moves at the max speed, the player's max speed. So it's not perfect. If you push the H button, it'll shoot, and the way it works is it's got a timer, because you don't want it. If you don't have a timer, it'll just keep creating bullets, and you just get a line, like a stream of bullets, like a just line. So when the timer's finished, that means shoot available, it'll increment a bullet fired. It'll create a new ID for that bullet, because the bullets need to have unique IDs, so that when they collide with stuff, you know which bullet to kill. Because yeah, that's something again that just comes with just watching some tutorials and doing it yourself. But yeah, you give the bullet the ID, and then you have a bullet list, right? And the bullet list is the most important thing. And you notice that I'm appending it to the level, so I've just called it LV. So when the level calls this, I should really wish it would keep some of the tabs open, and it's going to close the other one. So the level is actually going through the bullets. It's going through them here. I call it projectile manager. I should call it bullet manager for now, because there'll be missiles later. So it's like draw the bullet and move the bullet, but it's also doing that with the player. But the player has to connect to the bullet, because that's how it creates them. But that's kind of how it's working right now. So the player has some actions. It can move, the camera moves, and it can shoot, and it can boost. The boost is in this classic controls section. So this should be within the player. Yeah, so the classic controls. So I should just say movement logic. Should actually make it a bit. Yeah, that looks better. So it's this. I know this seems trivial, but it's actually not. Like having the comments in a place where you don't need to dig in. But this movement logic does have a bit more into it. So this is all controlled by me, right? So like, eventually I'll be adding like Jenkin and things like that. But for the enemy, at the moment, the enemy is just called Scout, right? Because it's the most simplest enemy. I've got a bunch of them that I want to add in. I need to give this guy thinking logic. And so this is what I'm going to actually start adding in here, and start thinking about what this logic is going to look like. I'll jump back to the socials now, see if there's anything there. Also, you can stream a particular window instead of a whole screen if you want to hide stuff here and there. Hey, that's a good idea. Like, I guess it's hard though, because I want to show the window of the IDE, like me developing code, and the game window. I should probably just it's more to have 2 screens is probably the best way, but I'm lazy. Like sometimes I'm just coding sitting in my bed, or like in the kitchen, or I'm not in the office all the time. So But you're right. I mean, that's probably the best way. I could probably set it up a bit better, but I think for the now, it kind of just works. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm going to do in the stream. I'm going to try and add AI, unless like you or other people want to talk about the topics that I've put in LinkedIn, because there are a few topics that I did want to cover. No, I don't want to cover them. Like I don't care, but it's more like if people, for those who aren't really into game dev, if they want to actually just come in and talk about stuff. Let me go through what the topics were. I should probably add them to the slide. Actually, that's a good note. I'll put that in my calendar for next time. Is add topic, add topics to placeholder slide, so that people can just ask stuff. There's also like a game I could probably add in, so you can play like noughts and crosses and things. Right, let me just jump in between the streams just to see like what's going on. Like some people jump on my YouTube one and then they jump straight off again. It's quite funny. Right, so let's get back into game dev. I'll share my screen again. We'll get going. So, oh yeah, I did promise I'd talk about the topics that I've got. So let me just quickly look at the post that I did. Yeah, so it's if you're interested, these are the topics. It's blockchain, Google's Code Red, and GPT-3 plagiarism. I should probably just add it in here. Don't know how though. Maybe in this placeholder image somewhere. Yeah, I can add it like in here. And do like a wrap the text. Damn. That doesn't work, I don't think. I've clicked text wrap, but it doesn't wrap to the other line, which is really annoying. Chat log lines, I'll try 6. Word wrap, done. Nah, it's not gonna work. Fuck it. Just stick that there. Right, go back into the game. Okay, so what I need to do is, and I'll just put the topics here for now. Those are the topics if you're interested, anyone that's watching. Okay, so I've got like a parent object. Ugh, do I really? I'm just thinking, do I want to do it in the parent object, or maybe I think I might have notes here as well. Maybe I did, got rid of them. Alright, okay, so the way, like, obviously this guy the code is way too small, right? Like, how does it have everything that it has? That's because what happens is there's a lot of stuff I want to hide, and that's hidden in the parent object. So the parent object is the enemy parent, and it's got like steering, move, stop. I'm actually not using any of these methods though. I'm just using the stuff here like ID classification, but I probably want to, like, this was logic from another game that I'd built, like a Command and Conquer style game, and I probably don't want to do this. I probably want to just build it from scratch. So I'm gonna first start off and do some high level pseudocode, and then I'll try and build it out. So let's think about what this logic's going to look like. So I think the first thing is we want, okay, really, really important thing actually. How am I going to visualize this? Do I want to visualize this in like a notepad or actually talk about it? Probably I want to talk about it and maybe do it in a big screen. Let me think. Yeah. Okay, so maybe there should be a good Metal Gear Solid analogy actually for this, for the AI stuff. So if I think I'm going to show this. So Metal Gear Solid, what's the name of those troops in the first one? They're basically like cloned soldier. No, that's right. So is these guys? So these guys in the original game, right? They have a very good, like, very standard logic. So I'd say Metal Gear Solid, and I put like snow, because I seem to remember a scene. I'll just show it. Um, Metal Gear Solid playthrough, and I'll jump to the scene. So in the scene, it's quite. Ah, yeah, there's so much talking early on. It's unbelievable. No way did he get that far in the game so quick. Is this guy doing a... What the hell? Is he just whizzing through the game? So, anyway, in the game, if we can get to the right part. Yeah, this is the scene here. This is perfectly the scene here. Right. You probably can't see him because he's just sort of hiding. But there's the soldier behind the radar, right? And look at the way the soldier walks. So, I don't know, like, if I could do like a draw.io maybe to show this, or what's the easiest place to do scribbles? Let me get my bookmarks. Code tools, no, it's draw design. This guy, we'll go to this guy. Right, so let's just do a brand new one. So you've got a container here, you've got another container. Here you've got snake. You've got solid snake here, so we'll make them blue. Don't know. I don't really know how to use this thing much. Should be some sort of fill, layers, actions, background. We'll make them blue. Right, cool. So you've got snake here, right? And then you've got your bad guy here, right? And he's got some kind of like radar. We'll make him like a purple. No, it's not. Right. So you've got like the guy enemy here, right? So we'll call him like, I forget the name. They're like they're kind of clone soldiers. They're not really clone soldiers, but they're some kind of soldier, right? And this guy has like a field of vision. So I wonder if I've got like a thing that I can just scribble with. So he's got like a cone of vision, right? And yeah, so in this cone of vision, just make it like it's like a radar-y colour. So keep that as a blue. Right, so this guy's cone of vision here can obviously pivot round, right? And it can sweep out motions. It can sweep out where he's looking, right? Now, so what happens is this guy follows like a predictable pattern, and then he kind of might go here, then he might sort of go like, this might be his path, for example. Sometimes they just walk straight or whatever, right? But then that's the path that they walk, right? And they'll just go round and round, and they'll just patrol this area, right? So that's state 1, right? So they'll have, I want the enemy to have 3 states, right? So state 1 is patrol, right? But in state 1, they need to have a sensor, right? So like as they patrol the area, like they can't just be walking, because they need to move from that to the next state, which is, I don't know if I could do another page here, but and copy this and just put it out here. So state 2 would be like, no, Snake is he's going here, and this guy, I don't know if I can invert this. Nah. Oh, maybe. Let me see if I can spin this. Yeah, cool. So he's been detected, right? And then that state 2 is Need to get a hang of using this thing. So when state 2, the soldiers detected him, and he's gone into the alert stage, right? So state 2 is alert stage. Alert and attack, right? So here is patrol plus, and he uses like some sort of sensing, right? Like sensing the area. If enemy comes within my area, so the logic will be, logic is going to be, logic is going to be follow patrol route, and then if enemy detected, don't do anything, right? So if enemy's detected, you just go to state 2, because everything's handled in state 2. So this is actually how you build out simple AI logic, is you manage it in states. Now obviously people like, using neural network or something, right? Because like maybe they're not sort of familiar with AI. Yeah, you can do that. It's not common in games today because there's just no point in doing them, because they don't behave like rules-based AI is far more beautiful than neural network AI that is sort of trained. I think I got some sort of buzz. Oh, I think somebody else is watching. Maybe I got a notification. I have no idea what that means. So it jumped up in my screen. I don't know if you saw it on your end or whatever, but like, yeah, something jumped up on my screen. But whatever, cool. Right, so the trick here is, again, so neural, I guess maybe just to wrap up that thought, so neural networks are fine. They're totally fine if you want to do something maybe new and different, but like for games that people enjoy playing, like rules-based logic is the way to go. I could talk more about that, but I better not get myself in a knot if if it's not anything anybody cares about. So in the state 2, right, essentially you're going to have a bunch of things, right? So if we go back to like here, right, in state 2, he's obviously going to like open fire. If there's going to be a lot of logic in state 2, which is actually more, it's more like harder to manage, because state 3, like before I sort of do state 2, I should like show what the state 3 looks like, because state 2 is the hardest. State 1 and 3 is quite easy. So state, I should maybe change this to colors just so I make it really obvious. So state 2 is right, you've detected the enemy, you need to shoot him, attack him, whatever. State 3 is Snake's hiding again, right? And the soldier's like, he doesn't have a clue what's going on, right? He's like, where the hell is this guy, right? And so state 3 is the soldiers on high alert, right? Now, what you want for state 3 is like, okay, the Snake's not around here, but when Snake, if Snake returns, I'm ready to get him. So the soldier's not performing his normal patrol. He's probably out walking a little bit further beyond, beyond his boundaries. So like he's out like searching for Snake. He could be like out here or whatever, right? And so state 3 is like the soldier's not in his normal patrol route. He's at like a heightened state of alert. So that's how state 3 would be. And the reason why we do this is there'll be like some kind of timer, right? That when that timer goes to 0, it's like 60, 59, 58. When it goes to 0, the soldier returns back to its route. And that way you tie the knot with state 2 and state 1 and state 3. So state 3 we'll come to that, and it's I guess it's alert. This one is like attack and pursue, right? So this logic is the hardest one, because the first thing you need to do, right, you need to think in order, right? Because if you just go like shoot the enemy, right, here there's a problem here. What happens if the enemy runs out of your field, right? Like what happens if he's here? Like, are you still going to be shooting like the enemy when like he's behind a container and you can't even see him and he's out your visual range? That's really bad logic, because that means that you could be like right at the other end of the game, right? Like you could be right another bit, and a soldier, from the start of the game, still trying to shoot you, right? So that's why you need to manage these logic in section. So shoot the enemy isn't enough. You need to say, if in range, right? In range, do stuff, right? Like shoot the enemy, whatever. If not in range, if not in range, you want to go into the alert attack, right? This is where you go to state 3, right? But if in range, like, you don't want it to be like for a tiny second, like, oh, I've seen Snake, shoot him, right? Snake nips out of my field of vision and then go to the alert. No, what you want to do is you want to pursue the enemy, right? Pursue, but if you're faster, then that means you'll never go to state 3 and Snake's gonna die. But if you're too slow, then it won't feel realistic, right? Like, again, if we watch the game, if we watch it, like, obviously he's not going to get caught here, right? But if I go to Metal Gear Solid alert, because he just got away with that. So let's see if I can find an example. Yeah, so here, right? So the soldier, right, there we can see there's a blue radar, right? And the Snake's here, the white dot here. Maybe I'll go big screen and larger so you can see it. So Snake's this white dot here. The red dot, he's gone around the boxes and he's about to come into his field of vision. Boom, he goes red, right? So there you go. Now he's technically in stage 2 right now, phase 2. So in stage 2, he's like, right, I've seen him. I'm going to go and pursue this guy. Oh, actually, no. And so this logic might be slightly different. So in this logic, he's not quite seen him. He's caught him at the edge. So he's gone straight into state 3, which is high alert. High alert is, remember what I said in high alert is you're no longer in your normal circular patrol. He's like looking around like, where is this guy? I'm not going to do that for the shmup game because it doesn't make sense. But this is fine. It's still the same logic. He's still following that alert 1, 2, 3. It's just he skipped from 1 to 3 because he didn't see him long enough. That's just a bit of logic there. But I'm not going to do that logic because it doesn't make sense. But in this case, this is where he's fallen right into the guy's field of vision, not on the edge. Boom, he's caught. So honestly, if I was coding this up again in 2022, I would have made the first alert orange and then this alert red, because this one is like, now I'm in state 2, I'm going to go chase you and I'm going to go shoot you. Yeah, there you go, state 2. Dave, looking back at this was one of the, how to say, like Metal Gear, the first games, not Metal Gear Solid, they actually pioneered this mechanism. But this Metal Gear Solid, they kind of fucked it up a bit, right? They got it the wrong way around, because this is not alert mode. This is attack mode. What you'll see is they'll switch down to warning, I think, but that's just a translation issue, right? It's not a coding issue, right? So see, it goes evasion warning. So this is the alert mode, right? This is the stage 3 alert. Take the attack away. This should really be, I suppose, yeah, it's just an English thing, but really all this is saying is that you're under fire and this number will stay at 99 as long as they see you, right? See, like when they don't see you, it'll count down again. So he's like knocked them out, and then it counts down because obviously they're not seeing him. And then when it goes to 0, he's woke up again. When it goes to 0, it's now into orange mode. So if these troops were awake, they would be back to stage 3. So that's really how you do the AI. It's in 3 stages. What the confusion here was that the guys sometimes went from 1 straight to 3, and sometimes they went from 1 to 2. So normally the process should be 1 to 2 to 3, and 3 can go back. It can go back between 2 and 1. depending on if the enemy's in the area. So this is probably the nicest state, right? One is where you sort of you complete the loop and you go back to on patrol. But 3 is like you're on heightened alert and you find them and you engage back into mode 2. So what they've done in Metal Gear Solid is they've gone from 1, but 1 can also go to that 1 can also go straight to 3 if I kind of saw him, but not sure, right? Which is fine, but again, it's not something that you do in a shmup, right? Like, because this is going to be high action speed game shooter. I'm not going to do the because evasion is not like the reason they broke the classic loop was because they want to do evasion, right? This allows for evasion to come in nicely, but we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to do the patrol with the sensing, and so follow the route and just keep the sensors on. If the enemy's detected, go to state 2. If the enemy's in range, I want to pursue them, and then so if the enemy's in range, pursue them for a given time and shoot the enemy. So probably like just keep doing this loop while in range, and then if they're not in range, what should happen is they should not go straight to state 3, because to state 3 it's like, well, yeah, I suppose they could, but I'm just trying to think, because you're pursuing and attacking. I'm thinking low level how I want to code this just now. Do I want to go straight to level 3, to stage 3, and then I can manage their alert in a nicer way, or shall I have them pursue a little bit longer after you've fallen out of range and then go to state 3? I'll tell you what, we'll go straight to state 3. So if they're not in range, if they're in range, to pursue them and shoot the enemy. So assume that you're faster, that you can actually get out of the way, right? So that's the assumption that we're going to make here. Assumption player is faster, or boundary is not infinite. So that's like detection boundary. And then when in state 3, what we're going to do is we're going to, this is the bit where we add the logic to say like, do a wider search loop. Be ready to go to state 2 again. Is that Unity, or are you playing MSG? So still love Sublime. Yeah. Hey man. So yeah. Thanks for watching, Ben. I've yet to get back to your Discord, by the way. Just gonna jump over the channel. Yeah. Okay. Just checking that you're still here, cause yeah, I get people jump in and jump off. Yeah, so I was using Metal Gear Solid as the example, and you switch to VS Code and use the GPT-3 plugin. I've built my own plugin for my own IDE that I've got, but I kind of just wanted to use this opportunity to talk through the sort of AI game logic. The reason I want to do that is because in order for me to properly architect this, like, I've got some people on that they have no idea how this works. Is that the Metal Gear Solid is, for me, it's the classic de facto, or any of the Metal Gear's games are the de facto way of of your fundamental AI logic. So I think this is what we're going to do. So we're going to do them in stages: patrol, attack and pursue, and then alert. And so in alert, what we want to do is we want to say do a wider search loop. So like kind of like maybe a sporadic, erratic. Maybe some sort of erratic patrol, right? Where you're looking about everywhere, maybe, and then, or you do a small loop around the last place the enemy was seen. That's probably better for a shmup, actually. So, like, if you can imagine in my game, right, like, let's sort of get this. So, in the shmup, you could imagine the player has just fallen outside of the detection boundaries, like just right on the edge, right? Like, or maybe it's got out here. Like, what would probably make more sense is rather than it going to its like normal loop. So like that, if this would say it's patrol route here, like what you probably want is you probably want it to patrol where you were last seen in a little circle here. It's almost as if waiting for you to come back. And then if you've not come back after say 20, 30 seconds, then return to the original patrol route. So I think that one's better. I think that one I'm going to go for. So I'm going to say do a localized small patrol loop, right? And then it's just say if enemy seen, return to attack and pursue. Now in here we needed to have in range like when pursuing. So pursue if in range, and within the pursue route I will say like do not exceed given boundary. So the given boundary should probably be like patrol route times 2, right? So like if the area of patrol is here, I would expect the actual full pursue box to be here. Like you can go anywhere out to here but no further. So I think that's a much better mechanism. So believe it or not, getting the pseudocode's the hardest thing. Once you've got the pseudocode, you're sorted. So do not exceed a given boundary patrol route 2. So if not in range, go to state 3, or if at the boundary, should I say if at the boundary, go to state? Nah, just if not in range, because you could just state the boundary and just not move it. I think that will still allow it to go to state 3. Okay, so we do localized patrol route. If the enemy seen, return to phase 2, state 2. But otherwise we want a counter. Count down from 60, right? Obviously, if you return to phase 2, the counter resets, right? I'm not going to show the counter because it's not Metal Gear Solid, right? So count down from 60, if counter equals 0, go to state 1. Now you might say to yourself, well, maybe I'm already at my loop, so I need to make sensing logic, right? Follow the patrol route if enemies detected, go to state 2. And then I need to say, if I am outside my patrol route, return to patrol route. Because in this state, you're back to green, nothing's happening. So I think this is the logic I'm happy with. So I'm going to go check on the notes, see if anybody has any comments, if anything like they think that I should add or something. Right. Break time. So yeah, I mean those are the sort of the high level logic that I want to do in the game, and I think I'm quite kind of like comfortable with the classic 1, 2, 3 patrol, search patrol route. I guess, you know, anybody else that's sort of joined the stream, you know, feel free to ask questions, or like when I sort of dig into the code, like I've covered a lot already, so I appreciate like those just joining might have missed it. So feel free to ask questions. Otherwise, I think I'm going to get started. So I think I want to do the patrol and the sensing first, right? So to do the patrol, this is where it's going to get quite involved, because in my patrol route, so we've got the classic controls. So this is the player. So for the scout, I've got an actions, and I've got nothing here. I'm just printing enemy action. So I want patrol. So we will call it self.patrol, and then we want a self. So in the patrol, we're going to do this by states, right? So we're going to do it exactly as I said. So I'm going to have it called self. Eventually, I might take this all out and put it in the parent class, because it might be something that a lot of them will use. But for now, I'm going to have it in the child class, because I kind of think I'm not going to use a lot of the parent stuff that I wanted to use. So in this, we're going to have it as state. And in the state, we're going to have it as set as patrol, right? So we're going to say if self.state equals patrol, then call the patrol function, right? And then if the self.state is attack, we'll just call it self attack. It's actually attack and pursue. Maybe I should just call it attack and pursue, or just attack pursue. Attack pursue. And then if it's alert, if the state is alert. So none of these functions are written just yet, but we'll get them. We'll get them all carved out. Right. So let's just start adding them. For now, we're just gonna say def patrol self. And again, for those that have jumped on, like, we can talk about these different topics as we go, but it's really just a case of just ask me and I'll talk about them. Otherwise, I'll be talking about code, because most of the people that are joining on at the moment are more interested in seeing how to do this. But we do have a bunch of topics to talk about, which they're here. So the Google's Code Red, the blockchain AI ownership, and the GPT-3 plagiarism. So these are items that we can talk about. Okay, so in the patrol, I'm just going to, for now, print patrol, right? And then in the attack and pursue, we're just going to do the same for everyone. So this is just me building out the skeleton functions. That's how you should develop in general for like game dev. Is you want to build out the skeletons first. Okay, so if I run this, nothing's gonna happen. But what I should see is it should at least tell me that it's in patrol state. So let me think carefully why this isn't working without looking at the error log. See if I can guess. So the actions is called by the level. I didn't save it, maybe. Indentation. Shenanigans. Cool, so we've seen self.state is not defined. Why is that? Should be. Yeah, that's why. Typo. Cool. Right, so nothing different in gameplay, right? But we should now see it's in patrol mode. So this is where it's going to get really, really, really fucking hard. Excuse my language. But this is because this is where I'm going to have to start thinking about something that's common to all of the objects, which is movement code. So the first thing is, I'm going to have to do high level code in here, like pseudocode, before I write it down, all the low level specific stuff. This is the hardest stuff about game dev, right? It's not managing your movement, right? Because like your movement is so easy as a player, right? Like you're just like, did the user press the X button, right? Like did they press this? Where's it like? Did they press the W button? Okay, add this to the speed. Did they go back? Deduct from the speed, right? Whereas in the Scout, you've got a few things that you need to do. One is you need to know where it is that you're going, right? Like what destination am I going to at this moment, right? And then I need to say like, I need to constantly go to that destination, right? And that's what makes this hard, right? Because like if you've got, even with 4 points, even if I've got 4 coordinates, I've got like 0, 0, right? Let's say my screed's 1,500, so I could say like 0, 0, then I maybe go to like 400, 0, and then I maybe go to like back to 400 to 400, and then from 400 to go back to 0, 0, I want to take this back to 0, 400. So the way this would look like is it would look like a dot here, and then it's going to go to here, and then it's going to go down to here, and then it's going to go back, I can't do it with this keyboard, back to here. So it's going to go around in a square, right? Like those are just 4 coordinates. But the point is you need to have a state, and you need to know where you are, like in the line between each of these, like, and because you might not be on that patrol route, because you could be attacking and pursuing in state 2, you could be in alert in state 3, so you need to know not only what state you're on, but how far you've deviated from your patrol route. So you kind of need to do like, you need a function, right? You need a function which is called a move function, and you need a move to destination function. So the reason why this sucks is because this is what I did in my other game. So I'm just going to keep an eye on the chats. Nothing going on in there. That's fine. So in another game that I've got here, it's called Drone Commander. I'll show you. This one's actually much better. It's working right now. So if I go to the, we'll go to just skirmish, right? So these are the units, and I can control and select them and move them, right? The red lines are just because I've not quite got this sorted yet. So these guys are going, see, look, they've got their own behavior already, right? These harvesters are going and they're harvesting and stuff, but it's not pretty because, like, see this guy, he's like, that's a bug, right? He wants to go here, but this guy's blocking him. Okay, now he can get here, right? That's clearly a bug, right? The movement of these objects, like, you can see the way that lines are like trying to manage their collisions. It's not pretty just now. There's a lot more work to be done in this one. I don't know if the enemy's here yet, but yeah, so there's the enemy. Oh, I've got quite a lot of ships actually. Shit, I forgot how powerful this guy was. Right, fine. So this logic obviously is, even though it's not great, right? It certainly is not great. Still extremely hard to build, right? Like, even to get to this point was really hard. Because, like, when I click here, like, they all need to know the destination that they're going to. Oh, this is showing the enemies. The enemies are coming in for a fight. Cool, whatever. Probably get smashed, right? Yeah, gonna get smashed, right? Now they're gonna take everything else out. They rammed it. Okay, cool. So, like, even to tell them where to go, right? They need to plan the route. They need to take into account that route if anybody else is on their route that they could collide with. What position are they on in that route, and to calculate. See, another issue is they're not just moving up, down, left, and right. It's not just like simple Cartesian coordinates, right? It's not like, if I am 50, if my desired target, right, if my X target is like 50 and my x actual is 100, it's not just like x minus equal, x minus equal 2 until you get to the target, right? Because you are driving by way that you face, so you need to take in angular coordinates, right? That needs to be taken into account, angular coordinates. So you kind of need to start, like, what you kind of need to do, right? This move to destination function, it needs to go like, first of all, it needs to go like, what is, okay, so first of all, like, it needs to go like, what is the target coordinates, right? And then it needs to say like, what's the target's coordinates? What is the target coordinates relative to my position? Then it needs to say, from my position, where am I facing? From my facing and position, how much do I need to turn to face the destination? Then, from my facing position, how much do I need to, like, so you could just, in fact, you could just do that, right? And then adjust facing position, so always facing target, right? And you'll do that so it's like nice and smooth, and then just move, and then just constantly move forward, right? So that's the easiest way to do this, right? And even that is pretty fucking hard, right? Because you're like, angular directions, you need to project a line from your position to the target position. You need to do a lot of sin, cos, and tan. Thankfully, I've already done all of this, but I think I want to do it again, right? So the coding for this is messy. I'll show you what it looks like. PWT. Oh, interesting. I was probably halfway through working from this because I had an interesting print line there. But I'll show you what the logic looks like. So if I go to the drones, I do have a move command. So I've got drone util and I've got angle to target. So fortunately, I can just reuse this guy, right? Which is like, where's the target? Where's the cell? And the beauty of this is it doesn't take in the camera. Like, life's hard enough without having to compensate for the camera position. So this is just purely objective from 2 points, right? You need this wrap angle to, obviously, because I'm using like radians is the best, right? Like, use radians if you can, but the problem with radians is it's confusing, right? And so it's much easier to work with degrees as a human. I mean, at least for me. So because I know 90 is facing up. I know 0 is facing right, and I know 270 is facing to the left. I know, sorry, it's facing down. 180 is facing to the left, right? So I convert to radians all the time. So I just use this guy to wrap and convert, right? And so I've got this guy is the angle to target, this guy is the wrap the angle, and then this guy is to change the current angle so you face the target. So these 3 things are the most important functions that I can reuse, right? Like, you have to get into the habit of reusing. But one thing I am not going to reuse, and I'll even use this get distance because that's going to be super useful, is I'm not going to use the move command and this command coordinator, because this took into account all of the different units in that game. So I'm going to need to rebuild this out again. And this move stop, again, look how complex this got, right? All this was supposed to do was call the move forward command and then just stop once you get to that position. But it got more and more complex because you're like, am I moving taking into account the camera? Because some of my units were and some of my units weren't. This is what happens when you develop in an agile manner, right? Like, you're not really, like, you're so desperate. Like, I was pressing myself to get features out. I was so desperate to get it working, and sometimes it was easier to get with the camera. So then I'm like refactoring this code to be like, check if the camera is needed or not. So I would add in a parameter saying cam offset, right? So like not all my functions would use cam offset. I mean, do we search here, right? So this one's got false, this one's got false, but this one's got true, right? So this is because in this one it was issued by me, the human, but this one was issued by the bot, right? So it gets very, very complex, and I don't know if I want to stick around to do that. That might bore you guys to death. Probably has. I think we've dropped some viewers. So, I mean, we can talk about subjects as well while I sort of code this up. Or I can wrap up this channel because I think we've got... Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up and just continue coding this off. So like I did last time, right? Like I got to a certain point with the map maker and then I just showed a video after of it working and the source code. I'll probably do the same again. Yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I think you can see now the exactly how this works with AI logic, right? So this is the pseudocode for the states, and this is the pseudocode for the destination. And I just showed you all of the functions to make this happen. So we've got the the face target, the where is the target, and changing the position. The only thing different is this move forward, which I'm gonna make myself. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna say what is the cost component of your speed, and what's the sign component of your speed, and use those as vertical and horizontal offsets, and then just use that to add and minus to get to the distance I want to get to. Okay, that was a lot. I appreciate you guys for watching. I think like if there's anything more we want to cover, just drop me questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna pick up on another stream. I think that's probably the best way to do this. Although I have noticed that more people have joined in. I'll hang on for a couple of seconds, and then if not, I'm gonna wrap up. Oh, is it now? I think. Ah, there you go. Sorry, Ben. I was talking to you, but I didn't realize that the. I think my audio was on mute. Yeah, dude. I'll catch up with you next time. And you're right. I should probably do like an ammo like showcase. Yeah, so I think like that's me wrapped up for now. So we covered off like how like I showed walked through the code base, like how you would code this game up. Then I showed like the AI logic and broke that down. I think like the theory is far more important than the implementation. And then we sort of covered off like what what makes it so hard. Like the hardest part is the enemy's movement because it's constantly needing to understand where it's going, update that those coordinates from an angular point of view. There was a lot to take into account there, so I think that was the biggest challenge. And sort of we walked through the functions, showed you what those functions look like. The only different thing that I would be doing now is hanging it together with a more simplified command structure. So I'm gonna wrap it up there, but I think on the next stream, what I'm gonna do, maybe I'll do an ammo showcase. I think Ben, you might be right there. Maybe I should do, because there's two core ammo AI engines that I've got. So I've got the one which is kind of like the assistant. I guess it's a bit like you could think of it as like a more of a dumb bot. It's still far more, I think, sophisticated than say Alexa or Siri, but compared to my real core ammo, that's different because I think the core ammo is something that I hope that will even rival that likes of sort of GPT, sort of OpenAI and DeepMind stuff because it works in such a different manner. So it's able to do complicated things in a much more streamlined, simplified way, but that's something that requires a lot more work. So I think the reason I haven't done more of the ammo showcases is just because I've got a lot more skins and a lot more avatars to add, but to add those, I need to simplify the code up and just clean it out a bit because the users can customize their design and customize their ammo avatars, but it needs to. I just really need to add more bits to it that I've already made the bits. I just need to add them now, and it just feels kind of like stamp collecting, which is why I've put it to the side to work on this game for now because it's Christmas. So what do something fun. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. As always, like drop me questions, like send me messages for stuff that you want to see me talk about next. Like if you're more interested in seeing game development, or is like more talking about the topics that I put in more interesting. Let me know, and we'll catch up